And welcome back to the 6th grade math course. Today we are going to be continuing with episode 3, and today we are going to be computing multi-digit decimals. So let's get right into it. So what are multi-digit decimals? So these are decimals with 2 or more digits after the point. So some 3 examples would be 3.47, 12.083, and 0.6257. So anything like with 5 digits, 6 digits, 8 digits, infinite digits, these are all multi-digit decimals. But things like 1.1 would not be multi-digit decimals because there's only one digit after the point. Now, today we're going to be learning to compute with them in all operations. So this means addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So let's start with addition and subtraction. So some key rules are that you should line up the decimal points and you need to add zeros if needed. So let's do an example. Starting with addition, 12.47 plus 3.7. So that's the problem. But what are the key rules to line up the decimal points and to add zeros if needed? So in this case, we're lining up. Let's look to the one on the right. We are lining up the decimal points, and we're adding a zero at the end of 3.7. 3.70 is the same thing as 3.7. Okay, so now all you would do is you do 5 plus 0 equals to 5, 4 plus 7 equals to 11, 6, 1, and so your answer should be 16.15. Now to subtraction, let's look on the top of the page. We have 15.006 minus 8.91. So what does it say? Line up the decimal points and add zeros if needed. So we're going to add a 0 to the end of 8.91, which would make it 8.910, and then 15.006. So now you line up the decimal points between them two, and 6 minus 0, 6, 10 minus 1, you'd obviously do regrouping, and 9, and you do another more regrouping, and then there you have it. And so your answer should be 6.096. Just subtraction. After you line up the decimal points and after you add the zeros, it's just subtraction. Now, multiplying decimals. So here are the steps. Number 1, you're going to ignore the decimals and you're going to multiply it as a whole number. Number 2, you're going to count the total decimal places in both numbers. This is extremely important. And number 3, you're going to place the decimal in the answer. Okay, so now let's do an example. We have 3.4 times 2.6. Okay, so in this case, what you want to do, you want to make sure that you change the decimal places. So from 3.4, you're going to bring this 1 to the right. So remember, keep 1 in your head. And from 2.6, you want to bring this to the right. And so that's another 1. So that's 2. Now you're going to do 34 times 26, which equals to 884. And then, so now you have, it's 884, and you have the decimal point right here. You're going to bring this 1 here and 1 here. So that's 2, and your answer should be 8.84. Now let's go to dividing decimals. Now the steps when dividing by a decimal is number 1, you're going to move the decimal right in both numbers to make the divisor a whole number. Same thing like multiplication, you want to make it a whole number. Number 2, just divide. Okay? Now, example. We have 4.8 divided by 0.12. Okay? So in this case, we need to move the decimal right to make the divisor a whole number. Now we have 4.8 and 0.12, but as you can see here, if you move this 1 to the right and you move this 1 to the right, the 0.12 becomes 1.2. So that's still a decimal. So you need to move that 2 to the right. But just like with fractions when you're doing LCM, when you move this 2 to the right, you need to move this 2 to the right. So now if you move the decimal point here 2 to the right, you'd have 480. If you move here, you would have 12. Now you'd do 480 divided by 12, and you'd get 40. That's it. You don't need to move the decimal back. Just do this, and your answer is 40. So here are some common mistakes to avoid. Not lining up decimal points. This is for adding and subtracting. You must always line up the decimal points. Misplacing the decimal in multiplication. Do not do this. Remember how many points you are moving you're moving that point. And forgetting to shift the decimal in division, make sure you always shift it. Doesn't matter. It's the easiest way to do it. And that's it. So you've just learned how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals.